My name is Madhumohan. I'm the Director of Waste Management Services at Dulsco, Dubai. Of course, Dulsco is quite a large company handling various types of waste for over 20, 25 years. So what I'm going to do here is primarily just run through some of the potential opportunities which is available in that market, plus what we have been trying to do with the municipality so that you could get a fair idea of what is available there, what's the potential, and how you could look at that particular market. So I'll just start my whole thing. Well, it's all about challenges of waste management in Dubai and the current opportunities which are there. So if you trace the history of UAE, of course, it from a small cluster of villages way back in 1930s. Today, I think Dubai is one of the most vibrant, economies and country in the whole region and the world. And if you look at it, also by 2020, there's going to be an expo which is in Dubai, which is also giving a lot of impetus to the various programs which the UAE government is pursuing. And if you look at Dulsco has been also a part of this whole growth of Dubai from its cluster, because we have been in the picture since 1935, starting off as a small stevedoring entity to help bring in material onto the shores. And we have grown over the years to a company of more than 10,000 people working in the whole of UAE and Qatar, expanding our activities now to Kuwait also. The waste management activities of Dulsco started in 1996. That means we're almost 20 years in that field. And today, if you look at it, we have more than 3,300 or more clients in the whole region to whom we are offering our services. And if you look at Dulsco again, we are one of the only companies who's offering the waste management service to all the major airports in the region. If you look at the Dubai airport or the Doha airport or at the Abu Dhabi airport, the Al Ain airport, so all the airports completely, it's being handled by Dulsco. And just to give again a small idea of what we stand for, of course, the growth of Dulsco has been primarily because of the way we have taken this business forward and the vision of the management. The company is owned by two large families, one belonging to the ruling family of Dubai and another local family, which means it's a 100% locally owned company who are 100% committed to what they want to do in the region. And today we have more than 12,000 employees in the group. And also we have been recently voted as a super brand in the region. So that now coming back to the waste statistics in the region, if you look at, as per the latest F&S report, the Middle East contributes about 106 million tons of various types of waste. And out of that, around 53% is construction and demolition waste, 33% would be MSW, and about 14% would be medical and non-hazardous industrial waste. And if you look at MSW alone, it's more than 34 million tons a year. And what we are trying to do is, or what I'm trying to do here is to just run through the opportunities as far as the MSW segment is concerned and the type of steps which Dubai has taken at this given point of time to address this sector. Now, if you look at again the waste statistics in the region, UAE is the number 2 as far as MSW is concerned, generating around 11 million tons per annum. So that 34 million has been split into the various countries in the region. And we generate more than, the per capita generation, if you see, is one of the highest in the world, 2.7 kilograms. And again, if you break down that 11 million tons into various regions of the UAE, you'd find that Abu Dhabi and Dubai constitute more than about 86% of the total waste generated. Sharjah, which is the third largest emirate, would have another 8%. And the northern Emirates, Fujairah, would contribute another 5.5%. And based on whatever analysis we have done about on these type of MSW which we have been handling, we find that almost 50 to 55% of that would be organic and food waste, and another 45% would be what would be the recyclables. And again, if you break down those recyclables, you would find that Paper would constitute about 48%, glass, plastic, and metals. These are the major recyclables, again, which are available in this MSW. So what has been put across by the government in the UAE, especially both in Abu Dhabi and Dubai, they have laid down certain directives and guidelines as to how they should approach this entire waste management scenario. And if you look at the Abu Dhabi strategy, the vision states that by 2030, 85% of the MSW has to be diverted away from landfills, and 90% of the construction waste has to be diverted away from the landfills. And if you look at the Dubai's master plan, it's aiming to reach 25% of the total waste recycling by 2018, and by 2025, 98% diversion from the landfills. This is what they're targeting. And Sharjah has also been going in this direction. In fact, they had declared by 2015 they should have zero landfill to waste, which is quite a tall order. In any case, if you look at Dubai as an emirate, the generation of waste there is close to about 6,000 to 7,000 tons per day. And Dulsco as an entity, we ourselves are handling more than 30,000 tons of MSW in a month, in Dubai alone. So what the Dubai Municipality has done is to look at ways to see how to start encouraging or taking forward this recycling initiatives. And they launched something called the My City, My Environment program about 2 to 3 years back. And what we're trying to do here is to just to give you an idea of how this whole thing was approached, because it's been quite a challenging task, even for operators like us. And the challenges, what normally which we find in that region is, of course, increased urbanization and leisure and tourism, because Dubai is being promoted as a major tourist destination. And the biggest challenge, of course, is the demography, because there are more than 150 nationalities. And the concept of recycling or waste management is different for different person in that region. So it's quite a tough job to see that everybody is brought into the same page. Then, of course, because of the high per capita income, you have a very high consumption of various things, and there's a lot of wastage. So currently, the major focus area has been on municipal solid waste, of course, source segregation, sorting, recycling. These are the areas which are being focused on. Then, of course, other hazardous waste like oil recycling, used engine oil. In fact, there's a plant which has been commissioned in Abu Dhabi a couple of years back. There's a plant which is just being commissioned in Dubai, so that's another area. Tire recycling, there's been a lot of discussions on that, but not much progress has been made because of the various thought process which is going on into what's the best way to handle it, whether you have to shred it or convert it to diesel or look at various options. E-waste recycling has also been an area of focus, and there are 1 or 2 companies which are doing that now in terms of at least separating out the various waste manually and then sending across to people for recycling. Medical waste, yes, of course. Dubai has got its own incinerator. Abu Dhabi has been going for a tender for medical waste recycling. Hazardous waste is a very major area which has got an opportunity because there's hardly any major treatment or other sort of facilities. So that's an area which is very much open. And then waste to energy. Of course, this has become the mantra of the recent times now in Dubai, where a lot of people are now talking about waste to energy, and there's been a focus from the government also on waste to energy. So I would like to run through the first step of what we are talking about in terms of the sorting and recycling experience which we have had in Dubai. So if you see, this was an objective of the municipality, which was commissioned as in 2011. That was the first time we started this whole. So the approach was to make sure that we have a door-to-door waste collection. And we were selected as one of the partners of the municipality. And within this past 3 to 4 years, we have, at least in the areas where we are working on, we have achieved about 15% diversion from the landfills into the recycling area. The target was around 13%, so we are almost on line with what the government has been looking at. So how did we go about it? So what we did was each household was provided 2 bins. One was a 240-liter black bin and a 240-liter green bin. Then there used to be a lot of common bins which the municipality had kept outside. Everything was removed from there. So there was no question of people trying to put everything into these common bins. Uh, and then we had to start giving details to all the people as to how the collection schedule would be done. And we had made a program where the black bins, which is the food waste and the organic waste, would be collected every day. And all the green bins with the commingled recyclables, which means the plastic, the cans, the paper, whatever it is, that would be collected every alternative day. And we were targeting a population of about 80,000 residents and around 10,000 villas in the region. And then if you look at how we went about with that campaign structure, so we had a three-pronged objective. One is to, of course, ensure that create a sustainable and clean surroundings, and then generate and constantly improve the collection of recyclables, because there had to be a lot of education to make sure that the waste was not mixed around in these two bins. Then, of course, build a strong PPP partnership models. So we divided again the region into three target groups: the residents, basically the owners, tenants, and the household helps, who form a major chain in this whole link of trying to ensure that the recycling is done properly. Then, of course, the schools, the universities, the supermarkets in that region, and then, of course, the local authorities and other stakeholders in the region. So all these three people were involved in this campaign. And then we had to launch on a communication theme as to why we should recycle, trying to focus on the benefits of recycling and giving them ideas of how to recycle and what is the role of each of these individual target groups in achieving this particular objective. So this was the way we approached the whole thing. So it was a 360 degrees awareness approach, which involved a door-to-door campaign. Then we had to have mall campaigns, school campaigns, then through targeted newspaper advertisements, then encouraging the residents by some awards and things like that in terms of the quantity which they were recycling. Then, of course, focus groups, word of mouth initiatives, and then using the social media and PR approach. So this, in turn, made sure that there was a lot of awareness which was created in these areas, and we could achieve some amount of, I would say, reasonable success in ensuring that we collected what we were. So I would just run through a few pictures and photographs which gives you an idea of how this was done. So, for example, this campaign was launched, as I told you. This was the second phase of the campaign, which was launched last year with the municipal authorities. And then, of course, we had to have volunteer groups which had to go to every individual household, explain to them. So we roped in the school children, the NGOs, to partner with us. And there was a lot of door-to-door awareness campaign which was done. And then, of course, in all these malls and commercial establishments, posters and other awareness campaigns were put across. Then individual consumers were met in all these places, trying to tell them that this is what we need to do. And of course, then one of the major things what we realized there was, if you look at that particular market segment, most of the households would have a maid or a servant or somebody who would be the end of the chain person who's responsible for the, so whatever we may talk on the stage or try to do a presentation, it would not go down unless they are made aware of it. So we had to run special campaigns in the ladies' clubs where the family was asked to bring in these maids, and then we had to give them some sort of etiquette training and recycling ideas. So these sort of, and then plus encourage them with some rewards. So that was done. And then we used to give surprise gift for residents, so who would help in recycling or increase the recycling campaign that was being done. So this is an ongoing process. Even today we are doing that. We give iPads and so many other things. And then, of course, we did set up a very small in-house sorting facility, which is not a very big facility, but at least a manual thing where we started bringing these commingled recyclables to our facility, and we were sorting it out. And this message was also passed on to the people. It's not that we're just collecting it. In many places, what we find, it gets collected and then again goes back to the landfill, or it gets mixed with the other waste and then gets thrown away. So at least give them the impression that whatever is being collected is really being processed, and then it's been recycled, and so that they are being a part of this entire programming. So this is how we have what we do now. Subsequently, we have baling of these cans in our thing. The plastics, cartons, paper, So everything we are now Baling, now we have a facility. And then we also have a lot of customer feedbacks and encouragement. This is just one of the responses which we got from our resident, who felt quite happy that something like this happening in the region and they're being a part of this whole movement. So all these efforts have made sure that recycling is definitely catching on in the region. And you can imagine, with 6,000 tons of waste generated in a day, and almost about, let's say, 35 to 40% or even more as recyclables, the quantum of recyclables which could be generated. But one of the major challenges which we find now, so we are in the process of expanding that capacity to ensure that we target this market. But with the current market scenario of the recyclables and the prices, that's going to be a big challenge for us. So what is the way forward and opportunities? So as I was explaining to you, we handle more than 30,000 tons of waste per month. And we're working closely with the Ministry of Environment, the Dubai Municipality, the Center for Waste Management, Abu Dhabi, and other agencies. So what, as a company, we are focusing on is on waste diversion, hazardous waste treatment, waste to energy, medical waste management, composting, which are all a part of the vision of UAE and Dubai, where some of them have to be completed before 2020 as per the targets. So we are just looking at, and that's one of the reasons why we are here, to look at technologies, equipment, systems related to waste management.